People, by the way, realize this importance of sleep when they don't get up really nice in the morning. For example, if they don't wake up and they're yawning, let's say, they feel like something is off. Remove all the wall clocks in your house.
Okay.
If you are watching time before you go to bed, you're not going to have good quality sleep because your mind is already calibrated that it's already 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I'm already late, which means the mind has already declared that you are going to have a sleepless night even if you sleep for 10 hours. Alarms are the worst thing to have in your life. You can watch probably another half an hour of Netflix and wake up maybe a little early. But I think alarm just disrupts you. We used to sell almost 2 pillows per mattresses earlier. Now average is 4. On almost every mattress you'll find 4 pillows for a double bed mattress compared to 2 pillows earlier. Which means that people like to not only put pillows in below their neck, but between their thighs, below their hands. So I think people just have playing with the pillows. If you go and ask my uncles and aunts, they still live in tier 2, tier 3 towns. They would say, "Beta, सबसे अच्छा गद्दा सबसे हार्ड गद्दा होता है."
Yeah, that's another misconception.
But that's not true. You don't give rest to your body, your brain, your muscles and everything. At some point in time, it's going to hurt you.
Hi, this is Siddharth Aluwalia and welcome to The Neon Show. Our team at Neon wishes all of you a very happy new year. 2023 was the most successful year yet at Neon. But this is just the start, as we are only 10,000 subscribers away from 100,000. We'll need your support now more than ever. So here's hoping 2024 is our best year, and let's get the show started. Please subscribe to Neon on YouTube. Around 55% of Indians aren't getting enough sleep or less than 6 hours of sleep every day. Our guest and his company have aimed to provide sleep solutions to solve exactly that, from being jobless to building a 800 crore revenue D2C brand in financial year 2023. It's my pleasure to welcome Wakefit founder Ankit Garg on The Neon Show. I would also like to thank our sponsors, Prime Venture Partners, for sponsoring The Neon Show. Hope you enjoy it. You're the largest mattress producer in the country now?
Oh, not really. I think we would be probably the second or the third largest in India. Yeah.
Coming back to sleep and India. India is a country which is the second most sleep deprived country in the world, where 57% of the Indians don't get enough sleep.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
See, I think this is the real India, right? I mean, when I say real India, what I mean is that there's something cooking. There's a lot of undercurrent going on in India, right? So everybody is waking up in the morning with a lot of energy to make money for that day, or let's say build a future for themselves, or build a really large career, or do a startup. Like everybody is an entrepreneur in India, right?
Yeah.
By heart, like if we go by the statistics, almost there's a very tiny amount of population who's working as an employee, getting a monthly salary check. But last year, a lot of Indians are entrepreneurs. Like if it goes in the blood of India. So I think as an entrepreneur, you're always awake. While you're sleeping, you're always awake. The more the amount of time you get to pursue what you want to achieve in your dream is the most valuable part. The sleep is always compromised because I think the easiest part to do, right? For example, if you want to watch a movie, you want to spend time on Netflix, YouTube, with your kids, with your family, travel, stuff, like the most easiest part, which is compromised, is sleep. And I think this is okay. This is fine. This is how, if you have aspirations, you start compromising on it. Look at all the flights that people take for traveling towards the world. I think recently a lot of family members and a couple of my friends were going there. Everybody complained saying, what? All the flights outside India are all in the night. And they were all okay because they saved the day because they want to travel more, right?
Yeah.
So I feel there's nothing wrong in it. But it's just that if people start, and people, by the way, realize this importance of sleep, when they don't get up really nice in the morning. For example, if they don't wake up and they're yawning, let's say, right? They feel like something is off. Let's say if they are, eating their food, they're talking to their family and stuff, the quality, is not coming out in the conversation. They realize that they've not slept well.
Yeah.
They walk into their office late because they wake up late in the morning. They went to the college late. They couldn't attend the first lecture just because they work. So everybody realizes the importance of sleep. But I think the easiest thing to give up. So there's nothing wrong in it. We feel that if you realize it, you will eventually know the importance of it and hence start working toward it. So we practically believe that age of 20 to 30, it's probably okay. But later, as you go on into your journey of becoming 40s or 50s, I think sleep becomes an inevitable part.
And if you see, right, for Gen Z of India today, the folks between 18 to 25 or even 16 to 25, as you said, India has been the highest ever aspirational uh, today, right, in the like the history of independent India for the last 75 years. And the one thing they are compromising is sleep. So this, the hustle culture, the hustle porn is there, where say
Yeah,
sleep for 4 hours, do
yeah,
4 hour jobs in a day,
yeah.
make side incomes, this and that. But eventually, how does it all add up to a folk who is between 18 to 25, especially talking about them?
Yeah, but I see. Yeah, no, this is so true. And in fact, this was the reason why we did the sleep internship program, because we wanted to really create a meme out of it in a way. When we said, you know what, can you really? We will challenge you. We'll give you ₹1,00,000 if you can sleep 8 hours straight without a disturbance. Like, and when we did this, actually, people find it very difficult to sleep
Yeah,
8 hours straight. Right. So we wanted to give this message to people on a very serious note,
yeah,
that today you might be okay compromising it, but there are going to be repercussions. Your amount of focus that you can give to the things that you're working on. In fact, especially when you're a kid and you're studying in a college, or going through your class 10th or class 12, you need a lot of focus on your studies. In fact, throughout your career, when you're working on any project in your college, you're working in a company, you have to work on certain things, there are timelines and stuff. If the focus or the quality of the focus is poor, I think there'll be repercussions of it. So we believe that the way that the Gen Z is living today or aspiring towards is not a very healthy thing. While they realize that it's an easy thing to give up, but I think sooner or later people will realize the importance of sleep.
and right, the globally the spend on preventive healthcare is at the highest in the 2020s, and probably it will increase in 2030s, right? Better diet, people are focusing, better nutrition, better devices to track your health, and more spend on gym and hope equipment. But the quality of the sleep has gone down. uh, do you want to stretch more broadly on that why is that happening, where people are focused on health but the quality of sleep is going down?
Yeah, but I think, see, everybody, I think at least what we realize is that we all come from a generation where our parents have worked till the age of 60, 65, 70s, and till the last day they've been dependent on their, like, for example, my childhood, my parents come from a government service background. Their future was dependent on saying, what, we are gonna, after 60, after retirement, we're gonna get that incentive, right, from the government every month, and that's how they're gonna survive. So I feel that the way that we have grown up, we have always seen that the life is, when we have seen our parents or people around us, and we have got exposure to this Netflix and the Western world, we realize that the quality of the life is in a certain age only, right? And that quality of the life is actually linked to exposing yourself more to what is available in the world, what more content you can watch, how much more new things that you can avail, what more new exciting. While I remember my time of the when I was maybe 18, 20, I think the only thing was how to survive, how to get to, let's say, get a government job, how to, let's say, look at a 68 down the line, I should be able to have a family, build a home for myself. I think those aspirations are given today. People have moved on from saying, what, I don't want a basic home, I need a very nice home, I
Yeah.
want to change it every 5 years. In fact, when we sell furniture to our customers, the common question that earlier we used to get is like, 20 saal chalega. Now people are saying 5 saal chalega na. What this means? This means that people have moved on to owning things for, because the way that their parents live, they want to live it for life and stuff like that. I think people want to move on. So I think it's pretty much fair that they expect more from the life now.
So can you share more insights on how the Indian consumer has changed today?
Oh yeah, I think this. I think a lot of things have changed, especially from some of the things, like, for example, if I was to buy a mattress about 7-8 years ago, I would probably ask my uncle or an aunt or my friend that, hey, you bought a mattress, how's that mattress, tell me this. And they would tell me, go to that Sharmaji store and this is the brand and you go for it, right? That conversation used to happen about 10 years ago, right? Now today's conversation is, again, I'll talk to my parents or my friends or family. They'll tell me, maybe buy this mattress or try this brand and go to that store. But I'm a much more informed and educated customer today. So what I would do is that I'll go and read about that brand, probably go through a couple of YouTube videos, go through a couple of reviews on Amazon and Flipkart and Google and stuff, right? And then I'll see a lot of competition brands. So the amount of time that I am going to spend to evaluate a particular product category is humongous. And obvious reasons is that the internet has exposed almost everything in front of you. It's the amount of time that you believe you should spend as a function of how much more you want to get educated to learn about the product or category, right? So I think this one perspective of consuming more and making a very informed choice has evolved like anything. Today, the reason that today there are so many D2C startups, I believe are because people believe that there's some startup offering something that they need. Earlier, nobody would buy a startup because they didn't know what to buy and how to buy, what to value, what to not value. I think that fundamental changes happened. Number one. Number two, I feel that, just because the internet has become so accessible to people, there are just so many choices. And in every choice, there's a value for money, there's a premium product, there's a product which is smart, there's an IoT, there's just so much of stuff, right? So you as a consumer now have a lot more choice. Earlier, you would go to a market saying, "Mujhe ek gadda chahiye. I want a mattress." Today, you'll get, "मेरे को spring वाला memory foam वाला गद्दा चाहिए." Or I want a latex mattress because I feel natural. I like natural. I don't want toxic chemicals in my mattress and stuff like that, right? So people are going beyond saying gadda to all the way saying, "I need an orthopedic memory foam mattress." And they explicitly call it out, right? Which means they're much more informed. They have a lot more options. And third point is that they get access to somebody who's manufacturing deep down in tier 3 town and selling it, to a town like Bangalore. You look at those Shark Tank, I think some of those videos were really nice. That lady who came with Achar, and I think that we've been just tracking them. They do humongous sales. They're selling lakhs and lakhs, those dabbas of achars. And they all cook somewhere tier 3, tier 4 town of India, right? So that's the real India, right? You get more options, you get direct access to the manufacturer, you can evaluate much more, and then take a very informed choice on doing it. So I think these are very fundamental, like full change of behavior in terms of making a choice compared to what used to happen 10 years ago.
And you yourself, I believe, come from a tier 3 town?
I'm from a tier 2 town.
And can you share what about, your childhood, couple of memories that propelled you into career of making people sleep better?
Yeah, I think, sleeping better was an outcome, but I'll tell you where it got triggered, right? The problem that I was trying to fix myself was a function of some of the things that had happened in my life when I was growing up as a kid, right? So we obviously come from a very humble background because father was working for BSNL. We had a limited salary option, in the house, and we had to do everything.
Lucknow?
Agra. So we came from Agra, then of course Mathura, Aligarh, Allahabad. All of these cities is where we traveled during my childhood time. I think we learned this value for money as a concept, right? Even if there is a 1 liter of milk, how do you make sure everybody's fed and choices are being met in a sustainable way instead of figuring out? That is number one, right? That's one character development that happened. Number two is you started valuing trust and advices. Like if somebody was to tell you, beta, you should go and prepare for an IIT exam, you would believe in him, and then you start figuring out and read about it and then figure out, what, this makes sense. So there was a natural instinct on believing on what somebody's telling you. Like nobody would just fool you out of the wax, right? So this was another fundamental that got worked out. And the third was that because we had tiny amount of money, if we go with that tiny amount of money to buy something, and if we get fooled up, we would be the most anxious customer on the world. Like we would just, go back to him, fight with him, return this product, get the money back, and it comes at whatever cost. We'll just go fight for that penny because I've spent that money, right? Now, those fundamental things instilled a culture in me. That culture was, the outline of some of those things is, nobody can fool me, so I should not fool anybody. If I'm paying value, I'm paying money, I should get value. Similarly, if somebody's paying, money, they should get value for their product and things like that. So I think that's where we realized that, in India, a lot of products are sold by traders. When I say traders are generally products manufactured in China, Germany, Vietnam, wherever, and imported in India. And somebody is just importing bulk in container, giving it to a retailer, and retailer is selling it to someone else. Essentially, the whole supply chain, nobody is adding value other than transferring inventory from A place to B, B to C, C to D. And all of them are making money. Especially in mattress industry, I realized a lot of mattresses were not being imported, but this was a very inefficient supply chain. And this is coming from some of the anecdotal experience of myself. When I went to buy a mattress for myself, I worked for a chemical company, so I knew what is the cost of the mattress, raw material that goes inside. I realized that if X rupees was the price of raw material, they were selling me at 4X. And I was like, how is that possible in this world? That the company should be ideally making 50% EBITDA margins because if you were to sell at 4x, right? And when we look at those numbers, we realize that nobody's making that kind of money, which means something is wrong. When we went deeper, we realized, you know what, the exact same things were happening. One, people were being fooled in the shops by the salesmen to tell ye le lo, wo le lo, ye le lo. Only why? Because they would make more cuts on selling some product because the brand would be
incentive was
giving.
not to give value. Incentive was I make money.
I make money. That is one. Second is you as a customer would not make an informed choice because you don't know the subject, right?
Yeah.
You would depend on a salesman. So the trust was broken. Salesman was selling you things, first of all, costlier. Second, whatever he wants to sell off, instead of believing on learning my body problems, learning what I'm going through, what is the problem I want to solve and stuff like that.
Nobody 10 years ago used to discuss any back problems. Right?
Yeah, nobody. They would just buy. And if there was a back problem, they'll say, "Acha, theek hai, after 1 month ho hi jayega." And stuff like that, right? So I think when I realized this fundamental gap and the reason why this gap existed, then I realized it's a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Let's try it out, and then that's how it happened.
Amazing. And people discuss about the diet and exercise of people like Virat Kohli. Nobody asks them about their sleep regimen.
You're right, but see, it's not fancy. I think
Sleep is simple.
sleep is simple. So the point is that the moment people, so if you talk and go to sleep, people who have sleep apnea, sleep insomnia, they're not getting to sleep. They wake up early in the night or early in the morning. They're snoring a lot more. Nobody can sleep around them. You talk to those people, they would value sleep like anything, right? So the problem is sleep or disorders in sleep are only experienced when you experience it. You value the problem in the sleep when you experience it, right? And unless you do it, you would most likely cut it. It's like a cigarette. You smoke it to the death. Only when you realize, I got a stroke. And the doctor tells, boss, you're done. Is when you say, acha, theek hai, it's a bad thing to do it. I think sleep is something like this. It's a very slow killer. If you don't give rest to your body, your brain, your muscles and everything, I think at some point in time it's going to hurt you.
And do you think we should start discussing about the sleep patterns that highest performers across business and sports have?
Well, we have not studied this specifically amongst the sports, but we have seen this that when we spoke with some of the coaches of Indian cricket team or badminton, we met some of the people in Mumbai and we were having this brief chat. They said, in the training schedule of all the athletes, it is mandatory that they sleep at least X number of hours for sure. And that too an uninterrupted sleep. And they define, say, the lighting in the room should be this much, the kind of a mattress should be this much, and you should go to bed at this time, wake up at this time and stuff like that. So I think all the athletes and the coaches and trainers understand the value of sleep and they instill it in the course when they're training them for the bigger game. But nobody has defined saying, what X number of sleep hours equal to Y amount of athletic.
But why are we not speaking about it when it's such an important thing?
Yeah, I think as I said, it comes free.
You don't have to spend any money on it.
You don't have to spend for it. And you can cut it and you still live with it.
Yeah.
So it's a very simple phenomena that unless you experience it consciously, every day that if you're not slept well today, your whole day is a little bit cloudy, your head is cloudy, your body is not moving at the speed and anxiety, right? So you realize it, but nobody's conscious about it. It's just unless you experience it like a doctor telling you, you won't realize it.
And can you share more about the demographics divide of India on sleep? Which city sleeps the best? Which tier 2 or tier 3 town sleeps the best? Any data that you have?
So we have data on not specific town, but I think we have seen that people in tier 2 and tier 3 towns specifically, they generally, because I think there's a lack of electricity in those towns, and by force people go to sleep at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock because they can't do anything beyond it, right? In fact, we have some of the employees who are working out of Jodhpur and they live about 10 kilometers from Jodhpur. Jodhpur is in Rajasthan. Now that place, light is not there after 6 p.m. and the sun sets about 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. somewhere in between. By force, they sleep at 8 p.m. and they wake up at 4 p.m. so I think it's probably a force which is telling any tier 1, tier 2 to 3 town that go to sleep. But otherwise, look across anywhere, the easiest thing that people want to cut in their life is sleep. And it just goes across. And only people who realizes the quality of sleep are those who have friends and families suffering because of this, or probably athletes or coaches who have told them, maybe it's quite important. By the way, I now remember this. When I used to prepare for my 10th, 11th, and 12th exam, and I would wake up till 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, doing all of those pencil diaries, notes and stuff and all. My parents would wake up every 2 hours or 3 hours and say, beta, 6 घंटे की नींद बहुत ज़रूरी होती है. They would also cut it, say, you know what, they would not say 8 hours, they would say 6 hours, but they would say 6 घंटे की नींद बहुत ज़रूरी होती है, सो जाओ. So everybody's conscious, but they're just squeezing it a little bit more as they get comfortable about it.
I think you are right. This habit to cut sleep gets from a days we are students, right? Because I think that let's study 1 hour more by compromising sleep. And then, in college, people go days without sleep. It becomes a fashion.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the working world, people take pride in 12 to 14 hour days, 18 hour days.
Yeah. In fact, there was a tweet from Elon Musk. He said some straight 72 hours he has not slept.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow. So they were celebrating it.
The other thing is, right, you are promoting better sleep through a mattress, but you also talk about the other aspects of sleep, because mattress, I believe, is one variable for it. What are the other things that you think are needed for a really good sleep?
See, it's quite interesting because I think we spend a daily time to invest. How can we? Because I think the number of hours that our consumers are going to give to a mattress are not going to increase.
Yeah.
We realize this. So I think the ambition of the Wakefit company is to make sure that within those number of hours, how do we give them the most quality amount of sleep that we can give, right? And there are certain things that we can, we can offer as an advice today and products in future and today that we're offering some of them. I'll tell you some interesting learnings that we have had. We learned that if you sleep before a certain point in time, which is about 9 or 10, your quality of sleep is much, much better compared to if you sleep at 12 or 1, irrespective whether you're sleeping for 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. I think this is one of the points. So we would advise always to go to your bed at about maximum of 10 o'clock. Second, don't watch movies which like a sci-fi movies or thriller movies or drama movies or something which gets your nerves, something which troubles you. In fact, Daravni movies, you don't watch them. If you watch them, you're not going to get a good quality sleep, for sure. Third is, if you want to have a fight with your spouse, have it before 4 p.m. Because if you want to have it, you have it before 4 p.m. Because if you have it after that, I'm dead sure. We have the research on it.
Okay.
You're not going to have good quality sleep. Number 4 point is, remove all the wall clocks in your house.
Okay.
If you are watching time before you go to bed, you're not going to have good quality sleep because your mind is already calibrated that it's already 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I'm already late, which means the mind has already declared that you're going to have a sleepless night, even if you sleep for 10 hours. So remove the wall clocks. This is another advice. Fifth advice would be, eat your food, if possible, by 6 o'clock, worst case 7 o'clock. Don't do anything after 6 or 7 p.m. You're going to have fantastic amount of sleep. The 7th or 8th advice is, if you like certain things in your life, for example, you like a Friends, you remember Friends? You like Friends show, you like a movie Dil To Pagal Hai, you like some songs that you love. Just hear them or watch them for 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Look at one episode of Friends. The quality of the sleep is going to be amazing because you will sleep with a lot of nerves being calmed down. Your mental psyche is very calm. You're stable, settled, everything. So I think these are some of the things which affects outside, let's say, the bedroom. Right now in the bedroom, always sleep with dim lights. Make sure that you're not having a light which disturbs your eye, because the moment it is eye, your mind starts, gets activated again. Number 1. Number 2, if you want to set up alarm clock, try to sleep at least for 6-7 hours before the alarm clock is going to go on. Don't try to, get the alarm clock, because alarm clock can get you at a very wrong time of the sleep time. Because in the sleep, there is REM sleep, there's a deep sleep, there's snoring sleep, blah, blah, blah. So if your alarm clock is disturbing you at the most deepest amount of your sleep, even 8 hours of sleep is going to be very bad. So I think very carefully when you're doing this, right? The moisture in your room, try to keep it so that as much as if you get your oxygen very easily, because in the night when you're sleeping, your heartbeats are very calm and your body is fully calm. So you would want to inhale oxygen easily. So try to keep your nose clean. Try to make sure that there's a decent moisture in the room. And obviously temperature is known to everybody, because I think everybody realizes if you keep it very cold, you are going to go to bathroom.
Yeah.
So don't wake up in the night to go to bathroom.
Yeah.
Keep the temperature optimum. I think these are some of the good healthy ways to keep yourself away from nightmares.
Have you read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker?
Yeah, I've seen.
How would you summarize this book to a 10-year-old kid? That why is this so important?
Yeah, see, if you want to live, I think if you read this book, you would realize that there's just so much happening in your brain when you're sleeping, when you're awake, when you're about to get to sleep. There's just so many things. If you read it, you probably will not be able to sleep, because there's just so much written in it. I think the advice would be, first of all, not read that book. That is one. But second is, believe it or not, I think scientists still don't know how to control the quality of sleep. It's a function of so many things in your particular life, that what you went throughout the day in your school, with your teachers, with your friends, at a game at cricket or a football, or the music that you played with your friends. I think it's a function of so many things happen during that day that defines the quality of the sleep that you're gonna get. I would advise, go and do it at the max. Do whatever you love, you do it at the max, and I think everything will fall in place. And if you want to go by the book, maybe then you'll realize there are just too many things. And I think there was a line, if I remember correctly, it said, if you read this and if you know what matters to a good quality sleep, you will actually never get a good quality sleep, because you'll be so conscious that you will disturb your own sleep.
Yeah.
So your mind knows everything. So maybe, just enjoy, have fun, but just do more and get to the sleep as early as possible.
And there's now complete an industry that is trying to at least make the developed world sleep better, right? There are rings, there are I don't know how many gadgets, there are mattresses, which temperature control. Talk about that, right?
Yeah, I think see, it's important for us, all of us, when we wear those watches and rings, and your gadgets are telling you that how did your last night went go, in fact, how well the quality of sleep you had, how was your heart rate, how was your oxygen content, how was the rhythm and stuff like that, right? While I think they're at least bringing or surfacing the problems that you might already be encountering while you can always measure a sleep score with your company who's sitting next to you, in your office, in your school. You can just talk about it, what's happening around it. So it's very important. But we believe that it only tells you what happened last night, and actually makes you
more anxious
and fearful. So it's a business of creating more fear. So you want to measure it because you might be feeling that you have the worst quality of sleep, and you bite and you get even more worst quality of sleep, right? So we feel that the gadgets are built for not for this outcome, but to actually make you aware of what all you can do to improve your sleep, and you can measure it, right? And this is where I was trying to give an example. In fact, I would like to really call it out. If you are having a gadget which can measure the quality of sleep, try doing some experiments that I told you. Probably keep different amount of lighting in the room, sleep at 9 o'clock, sleep at 11 o'clock, eat food at 6 o'clock, eat food at 10 o'clock, and watch a movie which is a horror movie, or watch a very nice movie. Try all of this, and then you realize the quality of sleep. I think use of the gadget to actually improve on the quality of life is supremely important. But if you're just wearing it, because it's fashion, I think it's going to degrade big time the quality of sleep.
And you think the next 10 years the quality of sleep is going to degrade further for the world, or as for India?
Oh, I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Because I think everybody is health conscious. There are just so many stories around us. People not able to live beyond 50 years, 60 years. friends and families, you get to know, like on a quick WhatsApp, somebody died of, you get to know, right? So everybody's anxious. And there are stories all across, this guy died at 40, this girl died at 30, something happened to him at 45, in 50 years, this 15-year-old guy, boy got a sugar and stuff like that. So many things are flowing, like you get access to the information. So I think by nature of this, everybody's conscious. Everybody's conscious of what is happening around them. And hence, by nature of it, you see lot of Indians going to gyms, waking up early in the morning, doing yoga, going for a run, going for a jog. You see, like I think if we could measure the average size of tummy in India, I'm sure it would have reduced in the last few years. But I think people are going to get more and more aware of themselves, what's happening to the body. And I feel that people realize this, and they will definitely improve, because they can now measure, how is their health, especially by wearing those smart wearable watches.
So for those of our audience, right, that haven't, because they're listening to the podcast, means that they are already conscious of the quality of the sleep. If you want to tell them about, right, some scientific, like you mentioned about the REM, what are the various phases of sleep?
Yeah.
So, right.
Yep. So see, generally a person in a 7 to 8 hours of sleep goes to 3 to 4 cycles of sleep.
Yeah.
Now each cycle has a REM sleep, which is called rapid eye movement. And there's
rapid eye
movement. So
Okay.
I'll tell you something. It's also funny. Okay, you can notice this maybe when you go back to your home. If you have anybody sleeping along with you, let them go to sleep. The first stage in people's life when they go to bed and they are about to go to sleep is called REM. This is called rapid eye movement. What happens in this is, when your eyes are closed, your eyeballs are constantly moving left, right, center. You will notice them, when they're just about to get into sleep. This is called rapid eye movement. Eye is moving constantly, all of that. Now, this phase is about 40 to 50 minutes, depending on what you went through throughout the day, at what time you're going to sleep. So many factors are there. Then the next phase comes is deep sleep. This deep sleep is the highest quality of sleep that one gets. And this only lasts for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes in each cycle. In each cycle, you will have REM sleep, deep sleep. Then you'll again REM sleep, deep sleep, REM, deep sleep. So you'll have 3 to 4 cycles. If you get 3 to 4 cycles, highest quality of sleep you'll get, the amount of deep sleep reflects the amount of good quality sleep that you have had. So try to improve your good quality sleep as much as possible. Number 4, try to not wake up during those deep sleep hours. So what happens is, when you are in deep sleep and suddenly you wake up, you are going to be very, very unhappy. Your body will tell you that I'm very unhappy that I woke up at a point in time where I was very deep in my sleep. And hence the recovery is going to be the most poor. So try to make sure when, and obviously nobody can do it, but everybody, by nature of it, if you're waking up naturally, you will always wake up in REM sleep, not a deep sleep. So try to, remove alarms, try to avoid disturbance, at least have those 3 to 4 cycles of life. I think that's good enough.
Have you explored the role of exercise in sleep?
Oh, we have particularly not been able to make any connection saying, if you exercise of this quality, then you are going to get this quality of sleep. And obviously it's a part of healthy, being a healthy living, but I don't have a scientific evidence for it, but I'm sure it must be related to it.
Let's say, for example, the one other factor is, and I don't know whether it's because it gets quoted quite often, and it's by Andrew Huberman, who is one of the leading authorities on health now in the world, that drinking affects sleep, any kind of alcohol.
Oh yeah. So I think this is a very classical case. There are clear examples on this. You can also measure this, by the way. If you drink before sleep, and if you're drinking hard liquor, or if you're drinking beer, your sleep cycles are going to be very erratic. And I think most of it goes because of what is happening inside your stomach. You're very dry, and then you will drink water, then you'll go to loo. So you will constantly break the cycles, the deep sleep REM cycle, and hence the recovery in that period is the lowest. And that's why a lot of us have this hangovers, because we are not able to sleep.
So you're saying the hangover is because the body, where it should have been at rest, is at most active when you drink.
Yeah, it's restless. It's basically restless. So you basically very dry inside, and because you're dry, your body is awake and you're trying to look for water, but because you're just too tired, you're not waking up.
Yeah.
So you are not sleeping at all.
Or it can be also because the liver is continuously trying to fight out to push out the.
Oh yeah,
the-
that's obviously happening. That's obviously happening.
This is very interesting that uh, now we are able to discuss about sleep. This podcast wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, so true.
We are at a point in time where this timing makes so much sense. Uh, and if you can tell, right, what are some common misconceptions that Indians have about their sleep cycle? Have you, like, when you talk to people, they say "aisa hota hai," but you say this is scientific, this is not like what it is.
I think
Or people from your
yeah.
parents' generation.
One of the misconceptions that we heard is that if you're having a dream early in the morning,
Yeah.
and if you wake up at 4 o'clock, you will remember your dream. Or if you remember your dream, then you mean that you have a very good quality of sleep. I think that's a full misconception. You generally go to your dreams when you're in REM cycle. And the reason, I think there's a reason why I'm trying to clarify on why some of the people don't remember the dream, because in your REM cycle is when you watch the dream, and generally you wake up in that cycle. So when you wake up in that cycle and your dream generally is in the middle of it, right? And you wake up, you don't recall anything because REM is a poor quality of sleep. Nobody watches in deep, right? So if you're about to get into deep,
Okay.
then you fully remember the REM cycle, and hence you remember the dream. Right, so it's got nothing to do about whether you wake up at 4 or 5. I think it's just about the cycle. It's very natural that some of the times you'll be lucky to fall into that phase of deep sleep and remember a dream in the REM cycle.
I think the another thing is that the word called alarm is an industry that got created,
Yeah.
which was not necessary.
Yes.
If people slept on time, they would have woken up on time, and
Yeah.
and I think alarm is spoiling a lot of the global. Is one of the causes of sleep crisis.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think alarms are the worst thing to have in your life. You can watch probably another half an hour of Netflix and wake up maybe a little early, but I think alarm just disrupts you, and most likely it disrupt you in a deep cycle.
Yeah.
And if you get disturbed in a deep cycle, that whole cycle of REM deep is gone, which means your quality of the score is going to be horrible if you're using an alarm.
Because body is a natural alarm, right?
Oh,
body
yeah.
will wake you up when it has fully rested.
There's a body clock. In fact, the reason that I said in the previous conversation that don't watch the timing in the night before you go to the bed, because the moment you tell your mind that the time right now is 11 o'clock, the mind clock starts working. You tell your mind you want to wake up at 4 o'clock, and if you're a conscious person, the mind will automatically wake you up. I think all of us would have experienced this at some point in time. At least I feel that this is the power I have. If I go to my bed at 10 o'clock, and I look at my watch at 10 o'clock and I tell myself, Ankit, you have to wake up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
99% I'll wake up at 5 o'clock because mind is constantly working on calibrating what is the time right now. Hence, it is advised to not watch time before go to sleep.
And that's why the reason, right, what you said, that if you do that and if mind knows that it has to wake up at certain time, it has slept at certain time, then the mind and the body clock can fight with each other.
Yeah, correct.
And actually they should be in sync for a good quality of sleep and ultimately life.
You can actually trick your mind.
Yeah.
You know that?
No.
This is also interesting. You sleep for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Your recovery in the morning is going to be almost equal to sleeping in 6 hours if you can trick your mind. And the tricking of the mind is don't tell him how many hours you slept.
Okay.
If you know, and by the way, you can tell in the morning that maybe I slept for so many hours. Because you're wearing a ring, let's say, or you're wearing a watch. The watch can tell you, let's say you slept for so many hours. After you have slept, there's nothing that a mind can do to the body. But if your mind knows before going to sleep, I think it's going to disturb you a lot more.
And you think the pillow industry is also a placebo effect that got created? That pillows were never needed, right? I don't remember that ancients used to have a pillow, and now there is so much variety of pillows that are there.
I think that is a fundamental change now. Earlier, we go by the data. We used to sell almost 2 pillows per mattresses earlier. Now average is 4. On almost every mattress you'll find 4 pillows for a double bed mattress compared to 2 pillows earlier, which means that people like to not only put pillows in below their neck but between their thighs, below their hands. So I think people just have playing with the pillows. Definitely the consumption of pillows has been on a...
And there is no relationship between pillow and a good sleep.
No, there's no relationship. Other than, let's say, keeping the spine in check, your these squats. Generally, people would tend to, have. There are 2-3 things with pillows. One is, if your neck is a little bit elevated, the blood flow is better into your brain. So I think if you're just flat, maybe the liquid, whatever is there in the stomach, they'll go a little bit up, and the quality of the blood flow is not that good. But if your blood is lifted, I think the blood flow is better. Number one. Number two, that the spine is also aligned using a pillow, because pillow is generally very moldable. When I say moldable, it's very soft. It takes a shape the way that you want to sleep, right? It just fills in the cavity. So it helps you keep your spine straight. So it's, I think, good to use a thin pillow, not a very thick pillow or zero pillow. It's good to use a thin pillow.
But let's say in Japan, the culture is that they lie on a
Yeah.
wooden bed without a pillow. Have you studied that, or have
No, we have heard about it, but we don't believe that's a good quality
Okay.
sleep, because I think that's a misconception. In fact, if you go and ask my uncles and aunts, they still live in tier 2, tier 3 towns, they would say, "Beta, सबसे अच्छा गद्दा सबसे hard गद्दा होता है."
Yeah, that's another other misconception.
But that's not true. I think just because they've been sleeping on this, our body is so great, right? The God has made us so nice that you sleep on this table, in fact, for, let's say, 21 days straight. 22nd you will say, this is the best product to sleep on because the body is built that way.
Yeah.
But it's really hurting you, because it creates, like, if it is hard, very hard, you're sleeping on it, wherever your body is lying, because our body is not straight, right?
Yeah.
It's not a plain thing. It is all curvaceous in all the different places, right? Wherever the weight of the mass of the body is, it will just accumulate that blood, put the pressure. When you wake up in the morning, you will have pain there. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions around it. We personally don't believe, while we have not studied, that that's a Japanese way is a good way to sleep.
And earlier, people used to have those 2,000 rupees mattress which are made up of cotton and unruly. You think people are going to do away with that? Because Wakefit in particular, you have been working with the mission of making mattresses more cheaper.
Yeah. See, it goes by the amount of consciousness you have towards the quality of sleep that you want, right? It's all a function of it. For example, if you're conscious, and let's say you have 100 crores in your bank account, right? And you value the quality of home that you live in, you will buy probably a great bungalow and 20, 30, 40 crore rupees. You will buy, if you value car, you will buy maybe a crore rupees car, 1.5 crore
Yeah.
rupees. But even if you don't value sleep, you'll buy a 2,000 rupees mattress.
Yeah.
So I think it's a function of how you, as a person, realize that the quality of sleep is playing importance in life. If somebody is able to link that, in fact, there are some of the learnings I would like to bring this, highlight this. The weight loss is also linked to amount of sleep that you're taking. Because your machine is also burning your midnight oil when you're
Yeah.
sleeping, right? Everybody knows that we do more, right? More calories are burned when you're sleeping, and your organs are rest and stuff like that, right? So more you sleep, the more weightless you are. So the moment you realize, you have to be more healthy, you need to be more nimble, you need to move fast, very energetic throughout the day. You want to be the best every day. Then the people realize the quality of sleep importance, and then that is when they'll start researching about what is good for them, and that is where they will start upgrading from that 2,000 to something. But I believe fundamentally nobody's going to change unless they value it. It goes by the fact that 100 crore bhi hai, then also you will not spend money on it.
Yeah. So, we discussed about how India's aspiration is killing its sleep. But, we are discussing this podcast and you doing sleep internships and many other social experiments. And I think your marketing is entirely based on those. You are not saying buy a Wakefit mattress. You're entirely in your marketing saying sleep better.
Yes.
Right? So Indians are putting more focus on, are discussing in their homes, are discussing at their work about sleep, this generation, while at the same time, they are going away from prioritizing rest and sleep. This is very at loggerheads with each other.
Yeah. No, you're right. But there's no outcome to it, right? So I think as a company, you have a limited choice. Customer wants to spend lesser amount of time on mattress, and they have to take the most out of that time that they're sleeping. So I think that's where the innovation comes in. That's where everybody in the industry is forced that within the limited time of sleeping time, how are you still going to give them what they could without compromising on the time. I think that's where innovation comes in. A lot of people like us, startups like us, especially in US, you're seeing loads of smart mattresses, tech mattresses. People are doing all sort of wonders to make sure that, with this limited finite time of sleep, you should be able to upgrade their life.
I think because in US people can afford to spend more on mattresses. Like there are 40 million millionaires out of the 300 million population in the US, like $40 million millionaire. So now they are buying mattresses which can temperature control the
Yeah.
mattress.
Yes, we heard about it. People are able to afford these mattresses. Come at a cost of about
Few $1,000s.
$2,000, $2,500, or $3,000 maybe. They're so costly. I think in India, people would have to create alternate. That's what we call jugaad. We say, right? Indians are very good at doing jugaad. I'm sure somebody must be trying to figure out an alternate which can still keep them cool, which is available at an affordable price.
And right now, wanted to ask you, right? You speak so much about the better sleep, right? How do you lead by example on that, right? What's your own schedule like? Because you are an entrepreneur and it's tough for you to prioritize sleep.
Yeah, no, I think I would be the worst example of this. In fact, this is an irony. The person who's trying to sell sleep is not sleeping.
How many hours do you sleep per day?
No, I think my sleep is my God's gift. I think I have this gift from the God. The moment I go to the bed, it just takes me a minute.
How and what time do you go to bed?
Generally, I would go to bed about 10:15.
Okay.
Something like this. But I am trying to... I tell my mind that I want to wake up at 5. I wake up at 5.
Okay.
Which means that my mind is not at rest.
Yes.
So I think I'm just trying to figure out how do I get to the 7 hour of great quality sleep without getting disturbed.
Yeah.
But I'm on the way to become an evangelist, saying, you know what, I have achieved it.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Ankit. It's been such a pleasure talking to you again on the Neon Show. And this time we discussed a lot about how to live a better quality of life through a better quality of sleep. I think our audience will enjoy it a lot because this is at core of what they do for 6 to 8 hours a day.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thanks a lot.